Zdelo se mi je prav, malo smo v času odmora za kavico poklepetali, da mogoče še enkrat zelo jasno povem, da to, o čemer danes govorimo, so povratna sredstva, ki jih daje LIFE program preko Evropske investicijske banke za te namene, ki so vam bili predstavljeni. Gre za pač nek presedan LIFE programa oziroma za to, da je določen del proračuna LIFE programa namenjen financiranju teh projektov, ki so bili predstavljeni. Gre za izključno povratna sredstva, za razliko od tradicionalnih LIFE projektov, kjer gre za nepovratna sredstva. Iz teh razlogov, kot so bili predstavljeni. Izvaja pa to Evropska investicijska banka za Evropsko komisijo. Tako da, mogoče, da ne bi bilo kakšnega razočaranja. Gre za povratna sredstva, sicer pod nekimi ugodnimi pogoji, ampak vendarle je treba ta sredstva vrniti za razliko od tradicionalnih LIFE projektov, kjer gre za nepovratna sredstva. Zdaj, zakaj pa govorimo to v okviru LIFE programa? Zato, ker sredstva LIFE programa krijejo tveganja, ki bi morebiti za financiranjem takih projektov nastala, ker vendarle ne gre za klasično komercialne projekte, ampak za projekte, ki so bolj orientirani na pač neko družbeno koristne projekte, ki ne nujno prinašajo nekih, pač niso neka tržna dejavnost, ki nujno prinaša neke prihodke. Zato je del denarja LIFE programa namenjeno za kritje teh tveganj, zato da banka lahko lažje oziroma daje potem kredite oziroma tja povratna sredstva pod ugodnejšimi pogoji in pač omogoča te projekte. To se mi je zdelo samo prav, da še enkrat osvetlimo to, da bo zelo jasno. And now I am very pleased that we have a presentation from Croatian Development Bank, and please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hvala. Dobar dan. Good afternoon. I'm sorry my Slovenian is very, very bad, but so I will try to talk in English as much as I know. My name is Harun Tanković, and I'm coming from Croatian Bank for Reconstruction and Development. I work within the funding department, and together with my team we are responsible to acquire long-term funding from any long-term cheap source of funding that could be provided right now on the market. And I will tell you during my presentation something about HBOR, then I will focus on our cooperation with the EIB and partly also on the NCFF. You have heard most of the main features on the NCFF, so I will not bother you with this so much, perhaps give you some initial examples from our practice and so on, and of course in the end if you have enough questions please say, but believe me, I'm standing in front of your lunch, so be quick. So let's start with just a general overview of HBOR. I think as this few slides will show you, you will probably see some similarities and draw some parallels with similar institution here in Slovenia, SID Banka, but we also for different purpose were initially established. Namely, that was in the beginning of 1990s, where during the war times there was a clear decision by the government that there should be an institution which will help Croatian entities, entrepreneurs and other, and even the private persons to help to build once again their entrepreneurship and their businesses. So there is a special law in 1992. 2 weeks from now we are going to have this annual, how to say, we were established in June 1992, so we are going to have thing to celebrate. But I would like just to tell you that our main focus of activities are pursuing the government's goals and decisions, but we are not providing grants, we are providing financing. So it's some things loans, but we are trying to be very sensitive in terms of pricing and other requirements as well. So As I would like to go on, this is just briefly, we are not the only one, we also have a group now. That was because of the state aid rules, we have to put some of our activities aside, and that's why for the time being we have this kind of structure. This was for now since 2010. And it is very important to say that since the beginning, since the actually joining the EU in 2013, we have been a focal point for various ministries and governments' decisions and initiatives, and we will just briefly touch base with this so-called Juncker plan or investment plan for Europe as we go on with my presentation. In case you have any questions, you are always free to ask. Of course, we are not only situated in our capital, in Zagreb, we have regional offices in order to help to reach potential clients in those regions. What is needed to be said, and later on you will see this clearly, we don't only provide financing directly to the entrepreneurs, we are also heavily relying on the commercial banks in Croatia. Nowadays, there is a situation on the market where banks are over-liquid, so they don't need actually so much our money, so we are trying to cooperate with them in other means that would be in financial terms most importantly will be still interesting for them. So, this is briefly our organizational structure. There are some plans to make it more flexible in the future, but we will see as this plan goes on. We are not big in terms of employees, not even 400. So we will try to do we are trying to do our job as efficient and to the benefit of entrepreneurs in the end. What is needed to be said, we are set up here very, very similar to the banking system. We are currently not regulated by the Croatian National Bank or any other regulator. We are in the process of dealing with this issue right now, but our approval process looks very much as the bank approval process. Going further, these are the main business activities, and in the top left corner is the most important and core business of HBOR. So we are providing loan programs for various entrepreneurs and various, various groups of entrepreneurs. What we don't still finance are the NGOs and the so-called associations. That main reason for that is that the credit profile is still not prudent enough for us to be taken, but we are dealing with the various other schemes that could acquire this I think very interesting part of the economy and social environment that could be interested for us to be part of it, because one of our aim is, as a promotional bank, is to fill up the market gaps. So if there are some entrepreneurs, some niches or some sectors that need the support, that is where we come in. And but we can't go there with the money-losing strategy. So we have to find out that it has, from top to bottom, the whole story goes smoothly. There are other products also available. We like to say that we have three roles in one. So apart from being developmental bank, we also provide export credit insurance and export credit finance. And we are always trying to add more things, especially if government says so. And believe me, they do. So, on the right-hand side, you just have priority groups. As you can see, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but environmental projects are here something that we do feel it's very needed. And it's been for more than 15 years very, very part of our activities. So in that sense, we are trying to focus on the projects, whether they are from the renewables, energy efficiency projects, and so on. And we also have started very heavily to rely on the foreign sources of funds, whether they come with or without environmental incentives such as fees and so on. We will come later to some examples that we have in our experience, but it is noted to say that it takes time. So I know that in 2005 we have some German grants as well for the energy efficiency and renewables, and it took time until this whole process within HBOR and the potential clients took some time. It took some time to, to implement that. But even the market was not still prepared for that. So there is always a thing, and I hope that with this NCFF we are going to do a good job to see that there is a market for that. But we will come to that later. This is just briefly how our characteristics of loan products look like. So let's say we can divide them in two main areas. One is for the pure investment, the other one is for the working capital. Now, as for the working capital, and I have to say that during the crisis time, which started almost 10 years ago, it was actually thanks to EIB that we acquired this working capital to help to many of companies to survive and still be present on the Croatian market. Now, there is no big brains behind it. This is just how we try to operate and what to offer to the entrepreneurs. Of course, entrepreneurs, when they do the investment, they ask also for the working capital, so we can blend in both things, and it works very well. So let me start with almost ancient history. So in 2001 we started with the first loan with EIB. It was 10 million euros. 10 million euros, and let's, as a comparison, last year we signed a loan for the SMEs with the EIB 250 million. So you can see how it developed throughout the years. I said what was the role of EIB, especially 10 years ago. It helped us a lot. But let us say that during this period of time we have become very experienced dealing with the EIB in terms what are their eligibility criteria, what they can provide us. And it also goes, and this where NCFF comes in, is that we are at a certain point, let's say, bored with dealing with this usual cooperation. We say to our relationship manager, okay, give us some juicy stuff. Can we blend in some other things so we can offer to the end clients? And from time to time we do so. So you can see just some of the main figures, how many of SMEs, especially projects, were financed out of the EIB funds, the mid-cap companies and so on. And in the last couple of years, it's no secret that we have also focused on the big projects in health, tourism sectors, in transportation, and I think that would be those sectors where we will still be able to find big projects. Purpose of finance contracts are, as I also mentioned, what are the and final groups of the entrepreneurs. And as for the EIB documentation, as long as we are concerned, we can put them in three main areas. First, as a crown document, obviously it's a finance contract, which says how the repayments go, what are the condition precedents, and so on, and even what are the, that is I think very crucial, what are the, let's say, things that EIB requires that you really have to take on as the end borrower, which means that you have to apply EU and regional laws, even, of course, in the area of procurement, environmental laws, and so on. Then it says that you have to be the owner of that investment for a long period of time at least, and so on and so forth. We can go endlessly talking about this, and as President of the United States would say, believe me, there is no negotiation on that. The other document is the side letter, which puts very clearly what are the eligibilities of the end borrowers and the projects and investments. So they will say, okay, you can finance SME, but according to this and that EU regulation, which is set in the stone, so there are no big deals, so that is fine. What you then learn, how the SME works, because, and you know, the entrepreneurs tend to be very creative. You know, you can always have a big company and the SME, but if they want through SME to acquire something which is interesting for them, then you have to see if this SME is connected to them. So if he's SME, but still being part of the big group, that you should look at the eligibility of the whole group. So these are the things that tend to be explained in the side letter. What is also important from the EIB side, they have a so-called NACI code eligibility, where they clearly say this kind of projects are eligible, these are sensitive, or these are excluded. For instance, tobacco is excluded 100%. If I recall, even the production of the weaponry is also excluded. However, in this area of military, there are some research and development things that could be, let's say, done. So these are the examples. I don't know if it's eligible, this NACI code on EIB sides, but if you want, you can come to our site and you can find that table as well. So because we have to put it on the website. And the third document, I put it here because I would like to have a one-on-one talk with Stephanie on this, is the Environmental Social Handbook. This is a document which provides very, of course, it's very detailed and large, more than 100 pages long, which says how EIB conducts in certain areas in environmental and social stance. Now, I don't want to go into much details, but what we have learned so far, the most important thing for EIB is that you have set up your environmental management, system, yeah. Do you have system? Do you have rules? Do you have all your own handbooks? Do you follow, in the end, the praxis, the EU and national law, and this and that? And that is the main, let's say, message from this handbook. Going further, just to briefly touch base with this investment plan for Europe, as I said, when government says you have a mandate, HBOR, to do this and that, please do that. So we are here not alone. We are working very much with some of the major, especially agencies and ministries, such as Ministry for Regional Development and European funds. Of course, Ministry of Finance, we can't do almost anything without them. And when dealing here, we are dealing with the EIB and the EIF. I don't know if you're familiar with the EIF, but this is a part of the EIB group, which through this investment plan for Europe provides certain schemes, especially for the SMEs. So it is worthwhile to look at it and to see how they work. So we've been, and I mean, this is a very good introduction to what I'm going to say about the NCFF. We have gone through the length of Croatia. Not so much on the coastline, but nevertheless, we have gone and talked to various private and public companies and utility companies and ministries, agencies, and we have seen that the projects are there, but they are not well prepared. Okay, in the private area, we can say that they are prepared, especially if they are larger companies. Tourism companies are very well prepared, that they know what they do and they want to do it tomorrow. But, you know, in the area of other companies and other project sectors, it takes time, but you should really see if there is a beneficial, because I think this perfectly also blended into preparational phase of the project, regardless how big it is. Okay, EIB said that they wouldn't go out of debate if the project is less than 50 million euros worth, but I think that changed in the meantime. just briefly on what we have done so far with EIB, especially on this EU grant and environmental protection area. So some time ago we have concluded a couple of loans with the EIB that have benefited from the Energy Efficiency Finance Facility 2006 and 2007 program. Perhaps some of you know something about it. We were very pleased to have this because this project not only that, I think, put some initiative to the market, so lots of things went on. We were able to, to have, this is especially on the second part of this slide, it is clearly said on the second part of this slide, there were certain incentives, financial incentives that were very interesting, not only for us as an implementing agency, but also for the end borrowers. We also had there a similar feature to the NCFF, the technical assistance. But technical assistance there was set up in a different mode because they were not only there to prepare the project, and they were directly procured by EIB and paid by the EIB. They were there to monitor if all what was done at the preparational phase was in the end, let's say, whether it was done. And they were checking. If it's not done, then the whole scheme is gone. If everything was successful as it was programmed to be, we got up to 5% of the approved loan fee directly to our treasury, and the end borrowers could get up to the 15%, which was used to lower their initial loan approved to them. So it means if they got 100,000 euro of loan, after the implementation of project, if everything is fine, it would be lowered by 15,000 euros. So in the end, it would come up as 85,000 euros. We were happy with this strategy. We did have similar things with regards to this structure, maybe not so much oriented to the energy efficiency, but currently we are also talking with the EIB of implementing us in various others EU EIB structures such as ELENA program and so on, but this is not the topic that we are going to talk about. So how does our application looks and negotiation process goes? I will not talk about where you can squeeze EIB during the negotiation process, maybe later, but I will just say that because we have experience and we have long-term relationship with the EIB, our approval process goes very gently. But first we have to sit at our table and say, well, we need this and that amount of money during this next couple of years for our activities. Then we say, okay, that's it. But then we approach EIB. EIB can do the so-called framework approved for us. And if everything goes smoothly, after this board of directors approval, we can go into the loan contract negotiations. This takes time. This takes some time. Then you have to fulfill condition precedent, and then disbursement come. Now there was a question about interest rates. The interest rates can vary. What kind of tenor do you want? Do you want 15 years, 12 years, 10? They have this flexibility. Do you want a floating rate, fixed rate? I have to tell you that other fees associated to the to this loan contract are not big, so you can swallow them. But I don't know if EIB has a different approach toward the corporates, to the other agencies, and towards financial institutions such as we are. So after that, we disburse the money. There is some kind of monitoring, and then comes the story about the NCFF. Now, how it went, that went last 1.5 years, if I recall correctly. So when we applied for new framework to EIB, we said, okay, can you offer us something more apart from usual stuff? And then our relationship manager say, okay, I have a good team of my colleagues. We have this NCFF program. Would you be interested to hear about it? So we had a couple of talks. We had some presentations. I think it was easy to convince me and my team on this, but it was struggle within to say, people, is there any interest for that? Because most of my colleagues working on the previous schemes were saying, well, there is only TA. Like, show me the money. Okay, give me something more. Reduce the interest rate. I don't know, some kind of other fees. And then, because the current situation on the market shows that there is a pipeline of projects, but if you're not quick enough, good enough, somebody can jump in and steal you the client. So we said, that is our program, that is our niche, let's do our mandate and to see if there is a pipeline of projects. Of course, EIB told us, do you have any experience of projects that could be similar to what Stephanie presented you, that could be very similar to what we have? And we said, well, we had these ecotourism projects previously. So we show them, and they say, okay, that is one off, and then we will see. I still believe that the SMEs are going to be driving force under this project, not the municipalities. No offense to anyone, because I think they are very well prepared, and I think municipalities have, I don't know how it's in Slovenia, but in Croatia they do have a problem of taking additional indebtedness. So they cannot take, they don't have a room. There are clear regulations that said you can take a new loan up to a certain percentage of your annual budget. Not to talk also about the situation when the annual budgets of the regional municipalities and regions are going down because of lower economic activities. Lots of people, especially from Eastern Croatia, leaving Croatia. That is something that always has to be counted in. So we do believe that SME under this NCFF are going to be the driving force. Now, we have signed a contract in March. Since then we have also started to polish one other thing, which is the technical assistance. So together with the EIB, we were talking how to set up the terms of conditions of the consultants to be selected by the EIB. And this is a very important thing for you to be very much involved with this. I also had internal struggle to convince people, please be behind this project. Why? Because some of the lessons learned before have to be replicated here. For instance, and we are thankful to EIB, they really said that, okay, we will put that there are some consultants who know the local market. And believe me, it is very important that you know that the people know the market. They know what's going on, where the things are, how the regulation and other things are there, and they really need to be there. So be very, very active on this, and if you are interested to be this. So as for the projects that was already mentioned during the Stephanie's presentation, maybe just another slide on the role of consultants, what they will do, what they will help us around. They will help us, HBOR, and they will help to the end clients. So how will they help us? So probably they will first look at how we work, what our procedure looks like. Then they will say, okay, under the NCFF you have this and this eligibility that you have to follow. You have to follow this kind of reporting. You will have to do probably a new loan product just to show visibility, to have a visibility of that. I strongly believe that is going to be the most crucial thing in this whole thing, to show people, listen people, we have this green project. 2 months ago when we signed the loan, it was all over the newspapers in Croatia and the phones were ringing. And this technical assistance was, you know, well, the consultants are coming, you know, well, it takes time for the consultants to come, so we are in the process of selecting of those consultants. We do believe that they are going to start by the end of this year or something like that. Reporting is going to be, I think, very important because it's not, it has to do with what NCFF expects, what EIB expects, perhaps we as well, and it's going to be very good that they will present us how this whole scheme works. Now, as for the consultants, I would also like to mention one of their major roles that has to be followed and has to be, how to say, adopted. They will help end clients to prepare their projects. But there is a catch-22 here. Now, there is no loan application towards HBOR, just, let's say, interest. Okay, we said, are you interested to see the consultants? Yes, we are. So the consultants will come to them. So what we will try to say to the consultants whenever they're selected, please be gentle with them. If you're too pushy, and if you still help them to prepare the project, they will go somewhere else. And say, oh, I can't believe, you know, they're asking too much questions, they're asking me for, I don't know, for so many things to be implemented, I can't deliver this, and that bank is saying to me, well, do you have a project? Okay. Do you have a real estate as a collateral? Yes, okay. I approve you a loan. So it's going to be very gentle and very cautious approach toward the end borrowers, not to scare them away. We do believe that with working with the NCFF, especially with the consultants and the EIB, we are going to acquire lots of skills and new knowledge. And this is that you can't put a price on it. But with acquiring this knowledge, I think HBR will be ready to do even more on the market. I think we are going to spur the market. We are going to see lots of projects in the end coming to be financed, not out of maybe this umbrella, but other means of financing that we also can offer. There is also, from our end, expectation that some of the projects are not maybe going to be entirely NCFF. There could be some components of it, because SMEs work in that area and such way. There could be also a thing to see. I believe that cooperation with the consultants and the EIB is going to be smooth, and I think that we are going to have a successful thing very soon. Now, as you can see, today we are going to publish the TA. Okay, the EIB will publish. I think the groundwork, when we are going to, let's say, do the marketing, when we are going to announce this more heavily, is going to be, I think, for my team, especially my colleagues from the loan department, is going to be something worthwhile to do. And I think that I came to the end of presentation. If there's enough time, I don't know, I can take some questions.
You have 10 minutes, so.
Or I left them speechless.
If there are any burning questions. Okay, I'll have one.
Hello, maybe it is for both of you, and I might be a little bit annoying with this, but can you say what is the maximum interest rate with the flat rate that you take for the projects? So at least we can have some kind of calculation in our heads.
Okay, I know, Stephanie, that Jean-Marc would kill me for this. Our relationship manager would kill me for this, but let's say the fresh.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, but under this loan agreement, I don't have any indications. But let's say that what I will tell you right now would reflect the terms and conditions somewhere else. So we have a special project, and just yesterday we have asked the EIB for the disbursement next month. 21st of June, the money will come. We have asked 15 years including 4 years of grace period, and then semi-annually we will repay the principal, okay? So what they have indicated to us, that the interest rate for us, that we have to repay the loan to them, is 1.33 fixed in euros. Now, there was an option to take the floating rate, but if you are taking floating rate for 15 years, I wouldn't recommend that even to my enemy. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So, but you are, and whenever you have a relationship with the EIB, you have people there. They are always ready to provide you fresh rates. But you know, I said one free. I don't know. That was indication. Very soon we are going to have a full-pledged interest rate from EIB, and when they say to us, we have 2 working days to say yes or no. It's not like in marriage. You have to say immediately yes. I think it's too late then to say no, but anyway. So we don't know, but it should be around that number. But as I said, if you want...
I understand, just to have a feeling.
Yeah. Honestly, the rates were a bit lower maybe 1 year ago. And then, you know, as things happened, especially on the geopolitical side, because it is a market thing, you can't put, you know, you can't have control over that. You just hope that nothing will happen badly with your government, our government, with the structure, and so on. You have elections very soon, yeah?
Yeah, on Sunday.
Oh, good luck. Yeah. Yeah, well, at least you know that there are going to be elections. There's always rumors there are going to be elections with our government.
Okay. Sorry, I have a quick question. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. I know that this is brand new for your bank, and that you have just recently signed the contract with the EIB, but I would still be interested to know, since you are around for nearly 20 years, in terms of clients, whom do you expect? Would it be more SMEs or more public institutions, or you probably have a feeling about that?
Okay. EIB offered us both SMEs, both mid-caps, both public entities. So we can do whatever is good. Now, the overall package is, so the credit line offered to us is only 15 million euros. So if you have a mid-cap or 2 mid-caps, they can swallow that just like that, if they are big in their projects. Now, as I said, what is my gut feeling? I don't think that public entities, cities, municipalities, even utilities companies will come to this. We will try, but I really doubt. I think they don't have a capacity to do this in terms of the financing, and in terms of the manpower. We have seen this from various situations, from the usual stuff that we do. I believe that SMEs is going to be those who are going to be the driving force behind this. So we will see how this will develop. There are projects, but I said, it seems to me they are just a component of the overall project. So we will see, I don't know how this will structure. Do we then say, because it's like 40% of the project, then we deal with it 100% under the NCFF, or we split it, I don't know, but we will talk about with the EIB. That is my gut feeling.
Hello, my name is Ana. I'm from Slovenia Forest Service, where we lead a project EcoKarst that deals with pro-biodiversity business in 7 nature parks or national parks around Europe, one also being in Croatia. So I'm wondering, this is Nature Park Žumberak. And we're actually just having workshops now with local stakeholders and trying to help them to think in the sense of pro-biodiversity businesses, how to establish them and so on. So I'm wondering, would this link be interesting. I mean, you partly answered before that you're not targeting or you're not having the feeling that public entities will come, but Nature Park Žumberak, for instance, is a public entity, but still they have a network also with the local SMEs.
Well, my question is this an Žumberak initiative something like a cross-border initiative? So you have similar things from the Slovenia together with them, or just them?
It's a Danube project,
Okay.
so it's a Interreg DTP Danube. So we have countries from Austria down to Montenegro.
Okay. Are there any EU funds also involved?
Yes, of course. This is but this is just a start to make the action plans and to start a sparkle, I would say, in local regions, to start thinking what is a pro-biodiversity business concept. But then we would like, as a project, that this lives on, and we would like to offer people connections, ideas, where they can then get the funds to really establish the businesses.
Okay. Now I will tell you why I think that this is one of the challenges that we have. Why municipalities and entities, public entities, will not come to us. Because of, in Croatia there are still lots of EU funds available. Now, because they are available, it also shows the projects are underprepared. So 2020 is very near. I know from the discussions from the regional development that now they are totally focused to find as many projects as they can. So that is why my belief is that the municipalities will look for the EU funds, EU grants as much as they can. Of course, they have to provide some own funds because they cannot finance up to 100% of the project out of the EU funds, that is correctly. We have certain projects from major cities, from major utilities companies, where they are asking us to provide this so-called national component and so on and so forth. But I really think that they will focus most, and I think these EU funds are going to be one of the biggest things and biggest competition to this project. Now I will tell you another story. Now we are also, let's say, an entity that is by the government set to provide financial instruments provided by EU. One of them are in the area of agriculture, which is currently discussed with the Ministry of Agriculture. Now, Ministry of Agriculture is very, very keen to do this very swiftly. We have done our part very swiftly. Now it's us, together with the commercial banks, to combine the funds and to provide very cheap funding. And this cheap funding for very things like for farming, for cows, for everything that you can provide, everything that you can, that you require. Sorry, it is going to, I think, be one of the, let's say, things that could be a competition, but also it could be overlapping, because it is a standard thing to see that the farmers are not just producing milk. Nowadays they're producing cheese as well, meat products, but also accommodation. But then it comes the Ministry of Tourism with the additional line, not combining their line with the Ministry of Agriculture. So there's also a coordination part between the various things. Now, just to come back to this, I would be very glad to see them on the list. But what I'm thinking, I would definitely recommend to them to seek first the path on the EU funds if they're available. SMEs that also are included in this are very welcome to come. Probably they have prepared projects. Probably during the consultant preparation phase they will not need so much fine-tuning as maybe the others. But it is going to be, as I said, from our point of view, very heavily marketed towards the end of this year and beginning of next year.
Thank you. Just a short sub-question about this consulting service. How would this look like? I mean, we will have now workshops with local stakeholders in Žumberak, and can we say there will be consulting opportunities for your further business ideas or whatever what will the process look like?
Stephanie, would you like to answer to this?
Yes, I think we are both capable of answering, but thank you. Because we actually discussed how this could look like together, and we have written the terms of reference to hire these consultants together with HBOR very broadly, but then we are going to meet with them and to discuss, because for me a lot of points in his presentation were very interesting to see how we're going to advise them. I think you can definitely tell people that there is this offer out there, but again, it's not just simply to prepare the project and then they're going to the competition, but we want to be relatively sure that they are then also taking up the offer that is provided by HBOR.
I mean, we are ready right now to talk to the people from Žumberak, but going too much details, I don't know how much I can write now. I think we always have our current way of dealing with the projects, so we are ready to see what we can do for them.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, I leave it to you.
Do I hear lunchtime?
Okay, any questions more? No? So thank you very much for the interesting presentation. We invite you now to have lunch downstairs in the restaurant. Enjoy as well a little bit of surroundings where we are located to get some fresh air maybe, and we hope to see you back in 1 hour, so at 1 o'clock we are here for the presentation on adaptation and for the Spanish project. Thank you.